The top stories tonight in Y News. The Marawi Compensation Board seeks to start their processing for the compensation of 2017 Marawi Siege. State Weather Bureau Pagasa projects that Typhoon Mawar may re-intensify as it moves closer to the Philippine area of responsibility by Friday or Saturday. Several senators grill officials of the National Grid Corporation of the Philippines over its delayed projects while imposing transmission charges from consumers. And Russian Prime Minister Mikhail Mishustin visits Chinese President Xi Jinping to strengthen China-Russia relationship. Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Wednesday, the 24th of May, 2023. Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the Philippines and in other parts of the world. We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media channels. I am William Theo. First in the news, Tropical Cyclone Mawar was downgraded to a typhoon this morning. As of 3 p.m., Pagasa located the weather disturbance with wind speeds of 175 kilometers per hour and gustiness of up to 215 kilometers per hour. It is currently moving in a northwest direction at a speed of 10 kilometers per hour. Pagasa has projected that Typhoon Mawar may enter the Philippine area of responsibility or PAR by Friday or Saturday. While traversing the East Philippine Sea, it may re-intensify into a super typhoon. The possibility of a landfall scenario in the Philippine landmass is still low. However, the outer cloud band may reach parts of northern Luzon. Mawar may intensify the southwest monsoon and bring rains over Mimaropa, Visayas, and Mindanao by Friday to Saturday. Similar weather conditions might also be experienced in southern Luzon and Visayas starting from Sunday onwards. Meanwhile, the Marawi Compensation Board, or MCB, will soon start its processing for the compensation of the 2017 Marawi Siege. This comes after the MCB signed the Implementing Rules and Regulations, or IRR, of the Marawi Siege Victims Compensation Act of 2022. Nel Maribohok reports.
The chairperson of the Marawi Compensation Board, Attorney Sara Latif, disclosed that they will soon announce the date of start of filing for the monetary claims of victims of Marawi Siege. This is 6 years after the Marawi Siege broke out and displaced thousands of the city's residents.
So, asahan po ninyo na sa susunod po na mga araw, i-announce na po natin yung place of filing claim, manner of filing claim, and then time of filing claim.
Yesterday, May 23, the MCB signed the Implementing Rules and Regulations, or IRR, of Republic Act No. 11696, or the Marawi Siege Victims Compensation Act of 2022. Under the IRR, eligible claimants who successfully comply with the necessary requirements and undergo evaluation will be compensated for their damaged properties during the 5-month-long conflict that started on May 23, 2017.
Pagdating po sa istruktura, ang na-estimate naman po natin, nasa 12,000 structures po yung nasira na istruktura. So magkakaiba po yung claim. Meron pong sa structure, meron din po sa personal properties na nawala, at meron din po sa mga missing and the dead.
The Department of Budget and Management has allocated an initial amount of 1 billion pesos for the current year, and the amount will solely be allocated for the compensation of the war victims. Nel Maribohok, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
A local court in Manila has sentenced Peter Jomel Advincula alias Bikoy to 1 year of imprisonment. Dante Amento explains why.
The Metropolitan Trial Court or MTC of Manila convicted Peter Jomel Advincula alias Bikoy for the Oust Duterte perjury case. The court found Bikoy guilty beyond reasonable doubt and sentenced him to 1 year and 1 day of imprisonment. Bikoy accused 3 lawyers of the Free Legal Assistance Group or FLAG, Attorney Chel Jokno, former Supreme Court spokesperson Attorney Ted Te, and former Congressman Erin Tanyada. He claimed they were members of Project Sodoma, which aimed to oust former President Rodrigo Duterte. Jokno stated that truth has prevailed and justice is served.
Siyempre, malaking bagay yun. When you accuse somebody of committing a crime, nakakapanirang puri yun. Nakakasira sa reputasyon. At sa ilalim nitong desisyon, tingin ko, talagang makikita natin na kung may magsisinungaling at siya ay under oath, may pananagutan yan.
And their names will be cleared of the crime that they have not committed.
At least natuwid naman yung mga kumalat na balita noon na sinasabi nga nila na involved daw kami sa inciting to sedition at napakarami pang ibang mga krimen na binasura nga ng Department of Justice at dapat lang kasi wala naman kami talagang kinalalaman doon.
Meanwhile, Bikoy may still file a motion for reconsideration over the court's decision. Dante Amento, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
In other news, a former presidential spokesperson, attorney Harry Roque, believes that there is still room for reconciliation between Vice President Sara Duterte and House Speaker Martin Romualdez. This after VP Sara resigned as a Lakas CMD member when Congresswoman Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo was demoted from Senior Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives. It is allegedly an excessive politicking. Roque added that it would be necessary for Arroyo to be reinstated in her post.
Ang tingin ko kasi, yung mga nagsulsul din, mga kongresista na medyo bad shot din kay Inday Sara.
Yan. Naghahanap sila ng iba.
Mangyari, no? Pero ako, dahil kasama ko yung dalawa sa kampanya, no? Talagang kada rally namin na nagpapakilala kay Inday Sara itong si Speaker Romualdez. So naniniwala ako na talagang sa mulat-mula nagkaisa itong Speaker Romualdez at Inday Sara dito nga sa partido ng Lakas.
And for our news abroad, Brazil's authorities make an emergency declaration for a period of 6 months amid avian flu cases in wild birds. Mavian Dog tells us why live. Good evening, Maeve.
Good evening, Marvi. The health emergency for the world's biggest chicken meat exporter came as a precaution after authorities detected and confirmed at least 8 cases of the avian influenza, particularly the H5N1 virus in wild birds. According to a signed document by Brazil's Agriculture Minister Carlos Favaro, 1 case was confirmed in the state of Rio de Janeiro and 7 more in Espírito Santo. Following the declaration, an emergency operations center was created to plan actions related to the virus. While the cases are far from the main meat-producing states located south of Brazil, the government is on alert after confirming them, as avian flu in wild birds is often followed by outbreaks in commercial flocks in other countries. The World Health Organization, or WHO, will monitor the further spread of the H5N1 virus and its devastating impact on animal health and welfare as the world is facing its worst outbreak of the flu since October 2021. They will also monitor the cases and whether the virus is mutating into a form that can spread to humans, which does occur as a result of close contact with infected wild birds. Back to you, Marvi.
Maeve, because of the emerging cases, is it possible that the declaration would also trigger trade bans?
Well, Marvi, this kind of infection in wild birds would not trigger trade bans based on the World Organization for Animal Health's guidelines. But if a case emerges from a farm, this would often trigger a cull or killing the entire flock, which would then trigger trade restrictions from other countries that usually import them. Marvy?
All right, thank you, Mavian Dog, for that live report. The Pacific Ocean island of Guam, home to over 150,000 people, has faced punishing winds brought by Typhoon Mawar today. Around 5 p.m. local time, the storm's eye wall carried winds of up to 140 miles per hour across northern Guam, causing power outages and cuts to water sources. As the Typhoon Mawar approached the islands earlier, trees were already uprooted and power poles went down. Extremely dangerous conditions are expected to continue for several hours as the storm travels west to northwest. Authorities issued flash flood warnings effective until early Thursday morning and have asked residents to stay indoors. The local weather service also warned that electricity and water may be unavailable for days and possibly weeks after Typhoon Mawar passes the island. Meanwhile, Governor Lou Leon Guerrero said in an update that the typhoon is expected to weaken overnight and into Thursday as it starts moving north to northwest. We'll share more global stories with you later, but for now, back to William.
Thank you, Marvy. For those watching our live streaming on YouTube, please click the subscribe button you see on your screen and ring the bell for notification. You may also follow us on Facebook. Disruptive behavior among children who went to Gentle Hands Incorporated has been reported by the National Authority of Child Care. The agency said there were 3 cases that alarmed the Department of Social Welfare and Development. Bernadette Pinoy will tell us why.
The National Authority of Child Care, NACC, has reported 3 cases of disruptive behavior from adopted kids through the orphanage operated by Gentle Hands Incorporated or GHI. GHI, the orphanage, has been shut down by the Department of Social Welfare and Development or DSWD for 20 days.
We have 3 disruption cases. So, hindi ko po pwedeng i-disclose yung mga pangalan po ng mga bata.
According to NAC's Executive Director and Undersecretary Janelle Ejercito Estrada, some adopted children imprisoned their adoptive parent in their restroom for almost 2 hours, while others chased their adoptive parents with a knife.
Ayaw na po bumalik sa kanya ng bata, kaya nagwawala po yung bata sa NACC at sinasabi po na ayaw na po niyang bumalik sa Gentle Hands.
According to the SWD Secretary Rex Gatchalian, this series of disruptive behavior seemed to have a pattern to them. He added that the agency can lift the cease and desist order to the orphanage as soon as they rectify and comply with the agency.
Hindi normal yung sunod-sunod yung disruptive case all from one facility. That there seems to be a pattern to it. If they satisfactorily address everything in 20 days, we can lift the cease and desist, and give them the children.
Children from the orphanage have now been temporarily transferred to Alabang, Mandaluyong, and Quezon City. Meanwhile, a post from the official Facebook page of Gentle Hands stated that they were ready to work with DSWD for the sake of the children. Bernadette Pinoy, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
This morning, the City Engineering Office inspected the burnt Manila Central Post Office building to check its structural integrity. They secured clearance from the Bureau of Fire Protection before proceeding with the inspection to ensure safe entry into the building. In the photos provided by the City Engineering Office, it can be seen that some metal is bent in certain portions inside the building. However, the Engineering Office has not released any results of the assessment they have conducted. Within 1 week, they will release the results when they consolidate the report of their engineers. It is estimated that it will take up to 2 weeks for their evaluation to finalize whether the building can be rehabilitated or if it needs to be demolished. Additionally, the facade of the post office building needs to be renovated. In an earlier statement by the local government of Manila, it was mentioned that they will work with the national government to restore the iconic building.
Kailangan kasi toro ang mahirap magbigay agad ng conclusion na kung i-condemn or i-renovate ang building. So, kailangan namin ng thorough test.
The Department of Agriculture holds the issuance of the suggested retail price for onion. Agriculture Deputy Spokesperson ASEC Rex Estopere said that they need further assessment on the cost structure of the commodity. The prices of onion in Metro Manila markets is now at 100 to 200 pesos per kilogram.
If last January the SRP did not work out, ayaw rin natin mangyari ulit yun.
Wala. DA also inspects cold storages in Metro Manila and in Regions 3 and 4A. DA appeals to traders to release their stocks to prevent the onion price to increase.
Ang hiningi lang natin, let's cooperate. Kasi kung farmer-trader ka, during that time, farmer ka, we protected you. Ngayon pag trader ka, which is another role, dapat makiisa ka rin naman at tumulong ka.
Russian Prime Minister Mikhail Mishustin sets off on a visit to China, aiming to fortify business ties and engage in discussions with Chinese President Xi Jinping. Joselito Liquido will tell us the details live. Yes, Joselito?
Good evening, Marvi. Russian Prime Minister Mikhail Mishustin has arrived in China on May 22 for a crucial business forum and bilateral discussions with President Xi Jinping. The visit follows the recent signing of a bilateral agreement between Chinese President Xi Jinping and Russian President Vladimir Putin, which aims to elevate the bilateral relationship to a new era of cooperation. The meeting is said to reaffirm the economic and political ties between the two nations despite Russia's involvement in the Ukrainian conflict. During the visit, Mishustin is set to engage in a Russian-Chinese business forum and hold talks with representatives of Russian business circles. Having emerged as Russia's primary energy customer last year, China continues to play a pivotal role in bolstering economic relations. While China maintains a neutral position on the Ukrainian conflict, refraining from openly condemning Russia, the meeting emphasizes the importance of stability in the region. According to a Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson, the country supports a political settlement to the conflict and opposes unilateral sanctions as they undermine international stability and cooperation. Meanwhile, analysts suggest that China's growing influence in the China-Russia relationship, particularly amid Russia's increasing international isolation, highlights the evolving dynamics of their collaborative alliance. Back to you, Marvi.
Thank you, Joselito Liquido, reporting live from Malaysia. A new study published by Nature Sustainability warns that Middle East countries are highly vulnerable to extreme heat caused by climate change. The research highlights that poorer populations will face the greatest risk in the coming decades. Ryuji Sasaki explains why.
The study explores two scenarios for 2027, with a 1.5 Celsius and a 2.7 Celsius global temperature rise when the global population reaches 9.5 billion. In the 2.7 Celsius increase, Qatar, UAE and Bahrain would nearly have their entire populations exposed to extreme heat. Meanwhile, Kuwait and Oman would face over 80% exposure, while Saudi Arabia and Yemen would have more than 60% and 50% at risk, respectively. One of the chief authors of the study, Professor Tim Lenton from the University of Exeter, calls for increased cooperation among Middle East countries and Southwest Asia to respond to climate change. This is because the study shows that poorer countries face the greatest risks. However, even wealthier nations cannot fully shield themselves from the impacts of extreme heat. Professor Lenton added that the challenges posed by extreme heat necessitate urgent action to address climate change and protect vulnerable populations in the Middle East. The World Meteorological Organization recently declared that the next 5 years will be the warmest on record, with temperatures likely to exceed 1.5 Celsius until 2027. Ryuji Sasaki, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
And those are the reasons behind the news in other parts of the globe. I am Marvi Delfin, live from Australia. Good evening.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has certified as urgent Senate Bill 2020, or it has the proposed Maharlika Investment Fund. This means the measure can now be swiftly passed on both second and third reading. Currently, senators have been debating the bill in the plenary as Senator Mark Villar defends the measure, being its sponsor. Congress will adjourn sine die next week. Several lawmakers once again grilled officials of the National Grid Corporation of the Philippines, or NGCP, due to its delayed projects. Harleen Delgado will tell us why.
Several senators want stiff penalties for the National Grid Corporation of the Philippines, or NGCP, the country's grid operator. This as the Senate Committee on Energy resumed its investigation on NGCP's performance amid proposals for the government to take back the country's power grid operations. Senators once again grilled the NGCP over its delayed projects through the years, while they continue to impose transmission charges on consumers.
Pag dinelay mo ng 40 years, nangongolekta ka rin ng 40 years. From where we stand, dihado ang consumer kaagad because we're not seeing the projects, we're not enjoying the benefits.
The Energy Regulatory Commission, or ERC, says they have penalized NGCP once worth 5.1 million pesos. The commission says they will look into possible penalties for the grid operator for the delayed projects.
Kung pagbigyan po kami ng pagkakataon na itama yung mga bagay dito sa mga reset na to, bigyan po natin ng chance yung regulations na umubra.
The NGCP, for its part, apologizes for the delays, citing various challenges including right-of-way issues and the COVID-19 pandemic.
It sounds as if na puro kami excuses po doon sa mga delayed projects namin, the three main backbone projects po. But the reality po talaga is that we do suffer both internal and external delays. I would like to clarify and express our apologies for the delayed projects. Yan po, ginagawa namin ng paraan.
The Senate panel's chairperson, Senator Raffy Tulfo, also questioned while bulk of NGCP's net income goes straight to shareholders, with only a small portion allocated to its projects. The NGCP argues that they have also allocated billions of pesos for capital outlay.
Mas malaki ang napupunta sa dividendo kaysa napupunta sa development. I-reinvest nyo for development. Only in the Philippines na for profit ang transmission. It should not be for profit. Maliwanag pa sa sikat ng araw na tumibit-tiba-tiba yung mga may-ari nito.
Our profits or dividends are taken from retained earnings, which have accumulated over the years.
The Senate committee has subpoenaed documents of NGCP, including its joint venture agreements. Harleen Delgado, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
The Motorcycle Taxi Technical Working Group is urging habal-habal operators, especially in the provinces, to join the pilot study of motorcycle taxis. According to Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board Chairperson Attorney Teofilo Guadis III, once they become part of the program, they will be regulated and trained to improve their driving skills for safety, which will ultimately benefit the riding public. Attorney Guadis said that TWG is looking into the possibility of adding more participants to the pilot study of motorcycle taxis and increasing the cap for the number of riders among participating transport network companies. The Technical Working Group is also considering expanding the pilot study to other provinces aside from Metro Manila and Metro Cebu. The pilot study of motorcycle taxis as public transport started in 2019 and is now participated by major companies such as Angkas, Joyride, and Move It. And the long wait is over. The provincial tour of the Wish Day Twilight Concert will also be held at the SMX Convention Center in Bacolod City on May 26, 2023. Gladys Tawabi has the report.
Very successful first leg of the Wish Day Provincial Concert Tour at the SMX Convention Center in Davao City last May 19, 2023. Our kababayans will also have the opportunity to watch the second leg Wish Day Twilight Concert at the SMX Convention Center in Bacolod City on May 26, 2023. The show will be a combination of short films and live concert performances titled Twilight, featuring the talented artist DJ Marquez, Ira Mariano, and Mary Joy Apostol. They will be joined by iconic OPM artists in the Philippines, such as Diamond Soul Siren Nina, balladeer Raymond Lochenko, singer-songwriter Samang Gubat, Kim Baluzo, and budding singer Haki. According to Nina, she will never get tired of singing for her fans, especially as their provincial tour concert in Bacolod City approaches.
What keeps me doing music are the people who listen to me and the people who are still there to support me. Kasi sabi ko nga, hanggat nandyan sila to support me, syempre kakanta pa rin ako.
Meanwhile, the third stop of the provincial concert tour will be at the Limkit Kai Center in Cagayan de Oro City on June 18, 2023.
May 26, I'd like to invite you guys. It's still the Twilight Concert Tour, right? So we'll be having another Twilight Concert Tour in Bacolod on May 26. So kita-kita sa Bacolod. Hello?
Gladys Tawabi, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Our kasangbahay, as the world faces these trying times amid the pandemic caused by coronavirus, we are inviting everyone to join the global prayer for humanity.
Good day. I'm Brother Eli Soriano of the members of the Church of God International. I want to invite you to join us in a minute of prayer every day to pray for humanity and the whole world as we go through these perilous times. While safety measures like washing of hands and strengthening of our immune systems may help us through this horrible predicament, there is still no precaution or cure more powerful than God's mighty intervention. And we need His intervention now more than ever. It doesn't matter what religion you are in or what denomination you belong. This is an invitation for all the people around the world who cares for the future of their family, friends, loved ones, and humanity as a whole. Everybody is welcome to pray with us. For more details, you can check out the description box below. Thank you very much, and I hope to hear from you soon. May God bless you.
And before we close, we will leave you with the word giving glory to God from the book of Proverbs chapter 22 verse 24. It says, "Make no friendship with an angry man, and with a furious man thou shalt not go." And those are the reasons behind the news May 24, 2023. Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. And because we need to know, we will always ask why. I am William Theo. We serve the people. We give glory to God.